This is Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. I'm the fellow who has a hyphen in my name. The hyphen is silent, but I am anything but that. Living Attentively is brought to you by Respectonomics, and Living Attentively is designed to give us the tools to pay attention to what is going on around us. Living Attentively is a series offered by Respectonomics. My name is Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley. I am the voice of Respectonomics. I'm also the ear of Respectonomics, meaning I would love to hear your comments and also recognize that we can have both the hearing and the speaking when we have workshops, when we have presentations, speeches, and consultations together. So this is an offering to say that if this is resonating with you, then by all means contact Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley at jeremy@respectonomics.com. And this subject of living attentively is divided into two parts. Generally speaking, we're talking about business and we talk about personal life. And this is a personal life discussion, and it deals with the whole business of rest. Now, rest is something we think in terms of when we go to bed. We go sleeping and we are resting. But resting is also something we need to address. We live in a world where we can talk about the difficulties of the isolation and all the stuff that's going on around us and the volatility and the volume and the velocity and so on. But one of the things we don't hear a lot about is just one word: rest. Rest is built into the human being. Your heart, my heart, operates on a very straightforward principle. It goes beep, and then it rests. Beep, and then it rests. That means that my heart, 50% of the time, is at rest, which begs the question, how much of our time is at rest? One might say, well, I've got sleeping for 8 hours a night. The problem with the 8 hours is half of that is interspersed with waking up with nightmares and horror stories and thoughts and so on. So that isn't even pure rest anyway. And I don't know what the statistic is, but I think most of us can say we're lucky if we can get 10% rest in a day. And rest is very important. We've just talked about how the heart operates. Think about some of the athletes who train brilliantly. And they train for 4 or 5 days a week, and then they rest. And that rest is extremely important because that is where, in the building up part of it, the training, that is where the muscle fiber is broken down. But the rest is where the muscles are re-knitted together and stronger than ever. So we need the rest. Let's not kid ourselves. If you think of a plant, think of a geranium that you have in your front window. Have you noticed how it grows in the dark? It grows while it's resting. How often have you gone up to a plant, maybe in your garden, maybe in your windowsill, and looked at it and think, when on the earth did that growing take place? It doesn't usually wave a leaf and say, excuse me, I'm growing. It does it very quietly. Our growth is largely demonstrated and enabled by the fact that we are able to rest. We live in a world where it's become very difficult to rest, bombarded as we are with information from every corridor and every nook and cranny. Every time you get into the car, there's a radio on, there's an iPhone on, there's something. You get back into your house and there's an iPhone in your hand. We are bombarded with information. It is very, very hard just to get rest. I think all of us are fully aware of how we can get rest in the sense of putting our iPhones away or putting our heads away from the TV, whatever it might be. There are some mechanical aids that we can do. Frankly, most of us do it very poorly. We maybe do it for a day or two and then we're back into the addictive process the next morning. So we understand, first of all, the difficulties of resting. But we can do some resting very mechanically and very intentionally. Whether you do it in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening, everybody's got their own personal cycles. But before we get any further, one of the things about resting is for each and every one of us to say, I need my rest. We do. For heaven's sake, when you have a child, do you not often say, or a baby, the child needs a rest? How often do we say, he's overtired or she's overtired? How often are we overtired? And when we're overtired, we become irritable, we lose focus, we lose mental capacity, we lose initiative, we lose motivation. We need the rest. And although we've just talked about some mechanical aids that we can do, like putting the phone away, the fact of the matter is, within ourselves, we need the rest. Because when we have the rest, we reestablish our identity. One of the problems in today's world is without rest, we do not have identity. And when we don't have identity, we feel lost, we feel coerced, we feel mashed down, we feel repressed and suppressed and depressed. Every pressing you can think of, all because we're not getting the proper rest that we need. In order to get the rest we need, we've said there are physical things we can do, but let's talk about another physical component to resting. And that is when I intentionally rest. Most people don't know this, or it's not well known. Resting is an activity. It's something that we actually have to do. In order to rest, what I need to do is to make an intentional time to rest. We're all on different cycles in our bodies and minds and so on. So you need to pick out, I need to pick out. I find 6 o'clock in the morning is when I do my best resting, which sounds totally counterintuitive because you'd say, but didn't you just come back out of a sleep pattern? Well, yeah, I did. Whether the sleep gave me that rest or not, I'm not sure. But I know that I need my rest. I know that by focusing on my resting, my relaxation, if you want to call it that, is a physical activity that then allows me to become focused on myself and focused on my own identity and also focused on my sense of well-being. You can ask yourself one question if you want. You're sitting down and say to yourself, whatever your name may be, my name happens to be Jeremy. I can sit down and say, Jeremy, how's your day going? Curious thing. It's a question that we talk about a lot, that you can go up to another human being and instead of saying, how are you feeling or how's it going, you say, how is your day going? And one of the most extraordinary things I've noticed is when you ask somebody, how is your day going? It actually gives them a spurt of life. It gives them an encouragement. They look up and say, well, actually, it's going quite well, thank you. And they may have just had a surly client come in and chew them out, all kinds of things. But when you say, how's your day going? It gives people a chance to reflect on the goodness of their lives rather than the squalor or the obsessions or the depressions and all those other issues. So we now know that we need rest. We know that it knits the muscles of mind and body and soul together. We know that. We know that it's important for confirming our identity. And how do you rest? What is it that you need to do? And there's 2 or 3 techniques. One of them is literally to sit, put your hands on your knees and say, I'm going to rest. And in order to rest in that manner, you rest your body. How do you rest your body? Go to your toes. Got to start at the bottom, work upwards. If you do it the other way around, you'll have your head resting and the rest of your body won't rest. No, you start at your toes and you start resting your toes, resting your ankle, resting your calf, resting your knees, resting your shins, resting your femur, resting your small of your back. But just start letting these rest. You do it. You tell it to rest. I'm going to say to Jeremy now, rest your back, rest your shoulders, rest your face, rest your jaw. How many times does your body get a chance to rest its face? How many times do you actually say to your eyes, rest? Your ears, your temples, your forehead, your scalp. But they all need rest. If it's true that the heart needs a rest, what other part of your organ doesn't need rest? Everything needs to be rested. And giving yourself the chance to do the resting and enforcing it becomes rest in and of itself. That's why it's called an activity. So you rest your body. And as you rest your body, allow yourself to go deeper and deeper. Allow yourself just to rest deeper and deeper. You've got your whole body rested now, relaxed, and you just let it rest into itself. Go deeper and deeper and deeper. And when you come out of that, which you can do by counting backwards, 3, 2, 1, or if you want to be very dramatic, go up to 10 and go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring yourself out of this period of relaxation and recognize the strength that you have created in yourself. Relaxation can come from writing, literally picking up a pen, write anything you want. Write down the story of what you did the day before. It's called journaling. Write down things that you think about, that you just want to look out of the window and admire the greenery or the whiteness of the snow or the frost, whatever it is you're looking at. But start recognizing, paying attention. That's where Living Attentively gets its nameplate from. It's called paying attention. Write some poetry. Write a bit of prose. Write a letter. But writing in and itself is therapeutic, and you can prove this. Those times when you were in a hotel or something and you get one of those pads that says, write down what you think about your experience, and you've had a terrible experience, and you write down, service was absolutely awful, the food was disgusting, and I hope I never come here again. And what do you actually do with that piece of paper on which you've just written down your angriest emotions? You throw it away. It's gone. It's finished. So writing it's to do with which part of your brain you're using. It's anthropological. It's terribly basic. The cave man, cave woman, they used to scratch on the walls. They didn't know what they were doing in this sense, but psychologically it was very empowering. And we can empower ourselves. We can rest ourselves by writing. And the last way to do it is to start taking some aerobic exercise. Because when you take aerobic exercise, guess what? Your heart moves up and your heart moves down. So you're creating the rest that your heart craves for by raising its temperature. Raise it up and it raises it or brings itself down again. You are creating rest. So resting is a powerful part of how we can manage our bodies and manage our lives. We can rest from people. We can rest from our surroundings. We can just say to everybody, I'm resting. But I want to conclude with one comment. If we agree that resting is a jolly good idea, which I think we all do, if we agree that resting is a good idea, then let other people rest as well. There's a reciprocity. If I rest, you rest. And there's a tendency to think, well, I'm busy, so you should be busy. No, I'm busy, you may be resting. I'm resting, you may be busy. I'm resting, you may be resting. But whatever it is that I'm doing, allow the other person the freedom to feel that they can be the ones to be active or resting in whatever mode they are at that time. And to give them that sense of encouragement, the sense of collaboration, and dare I say, to give people that sense of community, where we build each other up and we protect one another. Resting is a good thing. And my name's Jeremy Wentworth-Stanley, and I rest my case.